How's it going, football fans around the world? Welcome back to my channel. It is the month of November. You know what that means in 2022? That means it is World Cup time. Yes, the World Cup is now officially, 10 days away at the time of this recording. And so in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions on the group stage. So let's get to it. Yeah, it's World Cup, and it's weird, right? We're starting in the middle of the year. It's not something we've seen before. Well, not in my lifetime. And yeah, it's just a different type of vibe to this World Cup. You know, I mean, the World Cups before were so hyped up, and this one, it just doesn't feel as hyped up. And you know, it's in the middle of the year, which is weird, and it's in Qatar, which is having a lot of backlash. And it just feels like a World Cup, but nonetheless, it is still a World Cup. It still means everything to these players. So let's get into the predictions. So starting with Group A, this is a group with Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. You know, all these teams are pretty decent, right? I know a lot of you people are probably looking at Qatar as the weak point, and yes, I would agree, but I've actually seen Qatar play before. They were invited to the Gold Cup, which is where Mexico plays in the CONCACAF, and they didn't actually look bad. They can move the ball around. This isn't a team full of like guys who do pizza deliveries for a side job. Well, I don't know if that's true, but they didn't look like it. So yeah, they're actually a decent side. So for the other three teams, don't be coming in thinking Qatar is going to be some pushover, because they can actually play. But still, nonetheless, I'm still having them finish fourth in the group. The next team I want to talk about is Ecuador. Ecuador is a pretty decent team. I know Ecuador is probably another team that people are looking at this group as the team that is going to go out, and maybe, possibly so. Most likely it does look that way, but Ecuador, you know, don't write them off just yet, because they had to get over some pretty good teams in South America to get to the World Cup, right? They finished above teams like Peru, Colombia, Chile. Those are three very strong teams that Ecuador had to overcome to get into this World Cup, and that's exactly what they did. So don't be thinking that they're just going to be some pushover, because they got some players, and they know how to play. And as for the next team, Senegal, I actually rate very, very highly. I'm sure a lot of us do, right? We've seen what they did in AFCON, winning the tournament versus Salah's Egypt, and then yet again beating them again to get into the World Cup. They are a serious team with some serious talent, right? I mean, I'm looking at the list here. They got Sarr, Koulibaly, Gay, Mendy, and then possibly Mane, right? I mean, that's where the hit is for this Senegal team, is that Mane could potentially be out. And then as for Netherlands, we know what Netherlands got. We know the talent that they have. They're a super team. So yeah, let's get into Group A predictions. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up on this one. Coming in last, even though I said they could play, I'm going with Qatar. What I've seen, they seem like a decent team, but still these other three teams, I just feel like just have more than them. So yeah, I'm going with Qatar fourth, Ecuador third, Senegal second, and Netherlands topping the group. Now going into Group B, this is a group with England, Iran, USA, and Wales. This is a pretty strong group, and with the way England's been playing, and with the manager that they have, which I don't really believe in at all. I don't agree with a lot of things they're saying. I believe this group has the potential to be wide open. Seriously, like if England was playing to their best, and this England side with all the talent they have were playing to the best of their ability, then no brainer England would be topping this group. But with the struggles that they have lately, this group could potentially be up for anyone, right? I mean, Wales are a decent side. USA have some really good talent. Even though they haven't really displayed it, the players that they have are good players. And as for Iran, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the Iran team, because I really don't. I'm not really familiar with the players that they have. But what I do know is that Iran in the World Cup qualifiers was able to top their group over a team that I rate very highly in South Korea. So I know they can play, right? I've heard about them. I've seen some friendlies that they play. I know they can play. They're going to be another team that I'm sure a lot of people are looking at as the weak point, but they're going to be no pushover. They're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough challenge for anyone. And then as for USA, I can see this USA topping this side. I really can. With the talent that they have, and then the struggles that this England side has had, I can really see this USA side taking over. So yeah, and then as for Wales, we know the talent that they got. I mean, they got Bale. Even though he's not in his prime, he's still a good player. They got Daniel James. They got Ramsey, Ben Davies, and a few others. So we know Wales has it in them to do some damage too. So my predictions for this group, I'm going to start from the bottom up again. Going in the fourth, I'm going to go with Iran. I know I just kind of hyped them up a bit, but I still expect the other 3 teams just to be a bit better. Going into third, this is where things get tricky, right? Because I really believe with the other 3 teams that it could finish anyway. But I'm gonna go with Wales here, just finishing third in a very tight one. And then as for second, I'm going to go with the US of A. Now, even though I just said that USA has the talent to get to top the group, I don't believe that they quite have the experience and the chemistry to do it. And I know England have their own problems with chemistry and all that, and I know they're not playing to their best, but this USA side, we have to remember, missed the last World Cup, right? And I know that was a long time ago, but it's still something to consider. These players are very unfamiliar with the World Cup. This USA side almost has no experience in this World Cup in terms of the players, right? We know USA before has been to World Cups, but in terms of the players, they're very inexperienced. And they're still a team that I believe doesn't have it all together just quite yet. They have the pieces, but they haven't pieced them together. I've seen this USA side and the talent and the individual talent that they had, and it's good, it's great, it's a positive sign. But when I've seen them together, it just doesn't look great. I feel like a lot of the times they're just relying on individual brilliance to get them out of games, and they struggled in the qualifications, right? Although it seemed like their best USA side ever, this USA side still finished third in the CONCACAF. And yes, behind Canada, I can understand because Canada went under absolutely nuts, but this Mexico side, this is one of the worst Mexico sides I've ever seen, and they still finished behind them. Although they beat Mexico, they still finished behind them at the end of it because they just weren't able to get it done enough versus the other teams. So that's why I got USA second, and then obviously that leaves England first. I put England first here just because, look, they have so much talent, and if they can get it right, I honestly believe they should be picking up max points here. But as we've seen as of lately, they just can't seem to get everybody on the same page. But I still expect this team to top the group, and that's mostly just because I don't expect USA to come in here having everything figured out as well. So yeah, those are my predictions on Group B. Now as for Group C, this is the group I am obviously most interested in. I'm representing Mexico right here, but to be honest with you, I have some pretty low expectations for this Mexico side. I'll get into that in just a bit. But you know what? Let me start off with this group by already knocking off 2 teams here. I'm going Argentina first. This team has aspirations to win the World Cup. They have tons and tons of talent. They got Messi, who's looking like, well, basically, not, I was going to say a different beast, but the same beast that we've seen all these years. He's still going crazy. They won the Copa America. This Argentina side has some very high expectations, and I expect them to perform and achieve them. So yeah, I'm going with Argentina topping the group with max points. As for the bottom of the group, I'm going with Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm not gonna act like I am totally writing off Saudi Arabia, even though I am by predicting them to finish last. But I know this Saudi Arabia side has some talent. Now again, these are one of the teams I'm not gonna act like I know the players, because I don't. I've heard of some of the players. I've seen them in FIFA, but and I've heard them obviously outside of FIFA as well. What I do know about Saudi Arabia is that they topped the group in their qualifications. They topped the group over Japan, another team that I rate pretty highly. I think they're a decent side, and Australia, another decent team. So I know the Saudi Arabia side just isn't some nobodies. This is a decent side. They definitely have the potential to pick up some points against teams like Mexico and Poland, but I just don't expect them to. I don't think they're going to make it easy for those teams, but I still expect them. I still expect the other 3 teams to get past them. So yeah, Saudi Arabia last. So what this prediction leaves me to is who's going to get that second spot. And this one is driving me so crazy, right? I love Mexico. I love them. This is my team. Although I was born in the U.S., I live in the U.S., I am American. I got Mexican roots. My family is Mexican. I love this Mexico team. My pride for them through the roof. But if I have to be honest here, this is the worst Mexico side I have seen ever in my life. Even when we struggled to qualify in the World Cup that last time where USA had to save us, this Mexico side is by far worse than that, because that side had some promising talent. It had some of our big players in their prime, and going forward, the mentality was different. But with this Mexico side, I don't know what I'm looking at. And is it the players? Yes, but you know who I mainly blame? Tata. That guy, our manager, is, oh my God, I don't know what he's thinking. He is the worst coach, manager I've ever seen for Mexico. He should have been fired a long ass time ago. I don't even remember how long he's been coaching for, but it seems like forever. He is so... I'm finding it hard to have some faith into the Mexican side and believe that they can come out of this group. The only thing I'm hanging on here for Mexico is that history will tell us that Mexico will find a way. In group stages, right? Like Mexico has had amazing group stage matches, amazing runs in the group stage. We remember games like Germany versus Brazil versus France. The list goes on and on and on. History will tell us that Mexico will persevere. But for this one, I just don't know. And the reason being is because this Poland side, they got some players who are no joke, right? They got one of the best players in the world in Lewandowski. They got Szczesny as their goalkeeper. They got Zielinski. They got Matty Cash. The list goes on. This Poland side has tons of talent, and I just don't know, with the way that this Mexico side is performing and the way that our manager is lining us up, that we have any chance of succeeding versus Argentina, Poland, or even Saudi Arabia, right? Like this Mexico side could potentially finish last if shit hits the fan. And we're going to know right away, right? Mexico and Poland is the first match in that group. Well, I don't know in that group, but they faced each other first. So whoever wins that game is finishing second, right? It's finishing behind Argentina. And I just don't know Mexico's going to be able to do it. Every other World Cup I've seen, I've always been so confident that Mexico was going to get through because the players that we had proved it to me that they had the mentality, they had the talent, and they had the fight in them to do it. But with this Mexico side, I just don't know. But I need to move on here. I can talk about how disappointing Mexico is some other time. Let's get into the predictions. So, for my final prediction, I'm going to be going Argentina first, Saudi Arabia last, Mexico second, and Poland third. I know I just ranted, and I may even have to cut that just because of how long my freaking rant was. But like I've said before, history will tell us that Mexico will find a way. And if I'm going to come into this tournament thinking that Mexico has no chance, then why even show my support for them, right? Why even wear this jersey? I have to believe. I have to believe, because then what else do I got? I mean, I know I got many other entertaining teams to go watch. I just got to, and I know the talent that Poland has, and I very well know that as of right now, Poland has the better team, right? I don't think there's any question about that. Poland has they have the better players at least. So yeah, we'll know by the first game. That's the good thing I think about this, is that we'll know by the first game. They're not gonna give me that false hope going deeper into the group stages. We'll know after that first game who's getting second. Yeah, my brain is telling me Poland, but my heart is telling me Mexico, so I'm gonna go with my heart here. Mexico second. Now let's get on to Group D. Group D is a team with France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. So we got France here. France, this is interesting because they have a lot of injuries, but they still have a lot of new talent, right? I mean, they're introducing players like Nkunku, Koundé, the list goes on, right? I can't think of all their names right now, but we know the talent that France has. But something interesting that we also do know is that World Cup curse. We've seen it with Italy not being able to get out the group stage. We've seen it with Spain, and most recently we just seen it with Germany in the last World Cup, right? There just seems to be that curse of whoever wins the last World Cup isn't able to make it out of the group stage next season. Is that going to play part here? Personally, to me, no. It's not. As for Australia and Tunisia, this Australia side struggled to get in here. I'm actually surprised that they even are, right? They finished third. Well, initially, I was surprised that they didn't top their group after their group stage for display. I didn't expect them to go out and beat Peru in the qualifiers. So the fact that they did, that's good on them, but I don't expect them to come out of this group. As for Tunisia, another team I'm not very familiar with. Like, I don't know any of their players. What I do know is that they topped their group in Africa, but I don't expect them to really make much noise in this World Cup or in this group stage. They're going up against some pretty strong teams in their group, so I expect them to finish last. I'm going with Australia third. As for second, I'm going with France. All right, so the reason why I'm going with France is that they've lost some key players, right? They've lost Conte, they won't have Pogba, and then that curse that just seems to hit every team. Now, I'm not expecting it to hit France this year just because of the group in they're in, just because France just have too much talent not to get out of this group. But Denmark are a good team, right? I believe they were the first team in Europe to qualify for the World Cup, and they topped their group. This Denmark side has some fantastic players, right? They got Eriksson, Schmeichel, Christensen, Højbjerg. The list goes on. This Denmark side is good. And like I said, with this France losing a few players, they're coming into this World Cup with some new players, some players that don't have experience in this tournament. I could see France slipping a bit, not enough to where they're not getting out of the group. I don't think that's gonna hit. I don't think that curse is gonna hit them this year. But there's always a few upsets, right, in the World Cup. And France, as I predicted in the Euros, I believe could be one of those upsets. And it's not even much of an upset, right? They're getting out of the group. They're just finishing second. So yeah, Denmark first, France second, Australia third, Tunisia last. That's my Group D predictions. Now going into Group E, we have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japón. This is a strong, very, very strong teams. I rate all these sides here. We got Spain. We know what they have. We got Germany. We know the talent that they got. And then we got Costa Rica. This is an aging Costa Rica, but they were able to get into the tournament. They're always pretty decent. We remember that run that they had back in 2014 when they ended up reaching, I believe, the semifinals of the World Cup. So yeah, this Costa Rica side has made some noise in the World Cup. And then as for Japan, Japan is a team that I liked a lot of their players. I mean, they got players like Tomiyasu, Minamino, Bubu, Maeda, Ryo Hitate, which I don't know if he's going to the World Cup, but I believe he should, right? He plays for Celtics. He's my favorite Celtic player. I rate him very highly. So yeah, I don't know if he is going, but I believe he should. The only thing is, though, is that they did finish second behind Saudi Arabia in their group, which is not bad, right? Like I said, Saudi Arabia is a decent team, but a team like Japan and the talent they have, I would have expected them to finish higher than them, and that maybe says a lot about my predictions in Group C and how wrong I could be. But anyways, other than that, so yeah, this is a decent group, but I am pretty confident with my predictions on these ones, and I think I'm going to get it right. So going in the fourth, I'm going to go with Costa Rica. Unfortunately, my CONCACAF brothers, I just believe we're going to finish last. Although you guys were able to get into the tournament, this is an aging Costa Rica side. They have some very, very old players. Still some decent quality players. They still have it in them, but in terms of athleticism, just don't think that they can hang. And yeah, so Costa Rica going for fourth. Japan going third. I rate them highly, right? We just listed the amount of talent that they have on their side, but I just don't expect it to be any better than the other two teams in here, because the other two teams, as we know, are just super, super strong. So that now leaves with second and first. Now going into second place, I have Spain. The reason why I got Spain is yes, they have a lot of talent, but this Germany side as well has a whole lot of talent. And as we know, they weren't able to make it out the group stage last World Cup. So I just expect this Germany side to have a point to prove. I expect them to come out with vengeance on their mind. And yeah, I just expect them to top the group, because I just feel like that they have to make a statement in this World Cup. So that's my Group E predictions. Now, as for Group F, another group I am very interested in, because this is a group here that I'm looking at that I could see potentially an upset. So this team has Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. And I'm just going to say it here, I believe Belgium's topping the group. I expect them, with the talent that they have and the quality players that they have, like Kevin De Bruyne, I expect them to top the group. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park for them, but I just expect them to top the group. Now going into the last, I'm going to go with Morocco. I know Morocco is a decent side as well. They have players like Hakimi, Ziyech, Saiss. They were undefeated in their group in the qualification rounds. But I just think that these other three teams are stronger. So this now just leaves me with Canada and Croatia, who's finishing second. And I know for a lot of you guys, you may be thinking, no brainer, Croatia, right? Not so fast. This Canada side is different. This Canada side is a new face in the World Cup, and they need to be taken seriously. This Canada side have some players in them, right? I mean, we obviously know of Davies from Bayern Munich. But then there's also a kid called David who plays in the French league. And then another kid named Buchanan who plays for Club Bruges. And man, is he a monster. I mean, they topped the group in CONCACAF. I think that says a lot, right? They were able to top this best USA side that we've seen. And they were able to top, I would like to say, this historical Mexico side. They have some talent, and they should be taken seriously, because I believe that they could potentially make an upset here. I really, really do. But for my predictions, I am still going to be predicting Croatia to finish second. And there's only one reason why I'm doing this. I expect Canada to put an absolute fight. I expect them to shock everybody, especially the teams that they face in this group stage. But what I believe is going to get Croatia over the line here is just their experience, right? Like I said, this Canada side is very, very new to the World Cup. And although I believe they got the talent to do it, I just don't know if they have the experience to get over a team like Croatia, who has had tons of success in the World Cup. So yeah, I'm going with Croatia here. I want to go with Canada. I wouldn't be surprised if Canada does. I'm telling you guys to keep out a look on them because they could potentially do it. But for my predictions, I'm still going to go with Croatia here. Now going into Group G, this group has Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. And I think I'm going to run through this group. I expect Brazil here to take maximum points. And then as for fourth place, I know Cameroon have some good players as well. They could possibly do something here, but I just don't expect them to. I don't expect anybody in this tournament to be a pushover, so I'm not saying Cameroon are going to be a pushover and be looked at as easy 3 points. But they are the weaker side in this group, so I'm going with Cameroon fourth. And then that leaves second and third between Serbia and Switzerland. That could be a toss-up, right? Both these teams both have some really good talent, right? Like Serbia have Mitrovic, who has been absolutely lighting it up in the Premier League. I believe he's going, right? He should be going. He didn't play in the last Man City in the game versus Man City because he was injured. I don't know the serious of that, but I don't think it's serious at all. So he should be going, I believe. But Mitrovic, Lukahovic, Savic, like they have good players. Switzerland do as well, right? Switzerland have players like Akanji, someone who I rate very, very highly, who just joined my team. But yeah, they got Shaqiri. I know he's in the MLS and he hasn't been making noise at all, but I feel like for Switzerland, he is just a different beast. So I believe he's going. So they got Shaqiri as well. Sommer, who's a class goalkeeper. Xhaka, who's in the best form of his life with Arsenal. Switzerland have good players as well. And so for me, who I believe is going to finish second in this group, I'm going to go with Switzerland here. I believe that they just have a little more talent than them. I rate this Switzerland side. They're a decent team. So is Serbia, but I just expect Switzerland to get over them. So I go with Brazil first, Switzerland second, Serbia third, and Cameroon finishing last. Now going into Group H, the final group of my predictions. We have finally made it. This group has Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. Now, let's be honest here. I think the only 3 contenders here are Portugal, Uruguay, and South Korea. So sorry, Ghana. I got you guys going last. And yeah, and that just leaves us. And so that leaves us with Korea, Portugal, and Uruguay. I think this Korea side's good. I think we all do. They got Son, one of the best wingers in the world right now. They got other players around them who are pretty well. And they can do some damage, right? We've seen what they did versus Germany in the last World Cup. They just missed out on getting through. So yeah, this Korea side is to be taken serious. You can't overlook them. But this Uruguay side has tons of talent, and this Portugal side has a lot of talent as well. And they have what I believe is going to be a very, very pissed off, motivated Ronaldo. So yes, I'm going to go with South Korea going third here. And then going into second, I'm going to go with Uruguay. And then topping the group, Portugal. Those are my group stage predictions on Qatar 2022 World Cup. I'm somewhat excited. I'm getting more excited as it comes. I'm very aware of what's going on with it, so that's kind of dimming down my excitement. But the closer and closer we get, I'm getting more nervous, more anxious. The emotions are flowing to me. You know, I'm a very, very prideful Mexico fan, and I mean, everybody just loves the World Cup. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know if you guys agreed with me, what you disagreed with me with, and put down your predictions down in the comments if you feel like it. I want to hear everything you guys got to say, negative or positive, right? As I always say, it doesn't matter what you guys have to say. I'm up for it. I respond to everyone. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys soon.